Bring it back. Bring it back. Bring it back. Bring it back. Bring it back.
Check, check.
Your musical.
This is very hard to explain because it's a complex technology, but
From the And the Groove Remains production team studios in the Netherlands, my name is 𝗵𝗲𝗿𝗲 and welcome to this live stream. My mission is not to show you as many apps as I can, No, my mission is to educate and teach you about audio, music, collection management and conversion for DJs. So you save yourself some time for the fun and creative part of being a DJ. For those of you who are unfamiliar with who I am, a very quick introduction. I'm a 57-year-old dude from the Netherlands. I had my first DJ residency at the age of 15, which means this is way over 40 years of a DJ experience in the flesh. I am no longer an active DJ. I call myself a retired DJ. I do a few gigs a year, but nothing even close to what it used to be. However, some of you may know me from a little app that I wrote, the DJ conversion utility that allows you to go between various DJ software, maintaining your cues, loops, playlists, crates and all that other good stuff. It is not the only app that I created for DJs. I created tons of other apps, all aiming at making music collection management and conversion as easy as possible, and sometimes fixing problems. And that last part is what we are going to chat about a lot today. Normally I host my Ask Me Anything live stream each Tuesday, but it is UEFA Soccer Championship time. I am not a big soccer fan. Let me first start with that. I am not a soccer fan at all. But this is also kind of a social thing, these big soccer tournaments. So tomorrow I'm going to have some family time and we are going to watch all together as family the Dutch team play whoever they are going to play. I don't even remember who I'm that bad. But we will watch that. And for that reason there wouldn't be a live stream on my regular Tuesday. However, some things happened during last week that I decided to move the live stream one day earlier, because I think the knowledge I'm going to share with you guys today can be of use for to many of you guys. And that is why I do this live stream and this Ask Me Anything thing anyway. So that's the reason why we are early. Before I'm going to dive into the news, let's say hi to everybody in the chat already. Mark Smart, great to have you with us, my friend, and good to have you with us, and welcome. Kevin Brown, what's up, Mixmaster G? All good here, Kevin, what's up over there? Mark Smart has a very long question, and Mark, I will get into that in a moment, so stay with me. DJ Marv in the building, welcome, good to have you with us again. It's been a while that I've seen you. Chris is with us. Good evening, Mixmaster G. Hello, everyone. And let's start with the question that Mark Smart is asking. Oh, Doe the DJ is also there. Big ups, Mixmaster G and friends. Big up to you, Doe, as well. Good to have you with us, my friend. Mark was playing Rekordbox in performance mode over the weekend, which means you use Rekordbox basically as DJ software and control it with a Rekordbox compatible controller. And he was getting a bouncing ball, or the beach ball, that famous little thing that you will see a lot today. That indicates something is going wrong. And when loading a track, he got that beach ball. And slow to load, then nothing on the incoming channel till settle 30 seconds or more. And the result, after hours struggling to load various tracks, was a crash of Rekordbox. Usually, if you see that beach ball appearing, that means there is a problem with storage, and that can be anything. That can mean that Rekordbox cannot store certain parts of his database on the drive that it's stored, or that Rekordbox cannot read certain parts of the database, or that the audio files are on a drive that is wiki-wacky connected. But usually beach balls have to do with storage. They are not always a precursor to trouble ahead. Like I said, you will see some beach balls today in my live stream. And I know that they are there, and I can explain you why they are there. But when you are in Rekordbox in performance mode and you see a beach ball, the best course of action is to switch to a different audio source and reboot your computer, period. Don't beg that it's not going to be important, because Rekordbox, when operating in performance mode and everything is fine and smooth, doesn't give you beach balls. The moment it gives you beach balls, there is something wrong. And sooner rather than later, it will get back to you and bite you literally in the ass, like how it did with Mark. So if you are, and let's make that broader, if you are in Serato, if you are in Traktor, if you are in Virtual DJ, and you get a beach ball while you have never seen that beach ball happening when you did that before, then it's time to switch audio source to a backup, to your iPhone, to whatever you have as a backup, and reboot your computer and pray that the beach ball will be gone. If you use external drives, double check the connections. Double check the connections to the controller. I don't know what setup Mark was using. I think he set it an N2 MacBook and an 𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗃 that means that you went from USB-C, from MacBook 2 to a USB-B port. First thing that I can recommend, use a cable that is USB-C to USB-B. Don't go through a hub, a USB hub. Make sure you have the proper cable, and those cables are available and will save you a lot of trouble, because the moment you are going through, for instance, an adapter, this is like an adapter from USB-A to USB-C, like this, that can cause troubles. But if you have a cable going from USB-C to USB-B, that is your safest bet to connect it. So make sure that you have that, and of course double check your cable quality and stuff like that. So that is what I can tell about having beach balls while you are performing, because usually when you see it happen, don't wait for it, don't wait for the beach ball to go away. Reset your computer, force quit your DJ software. I don't care what you're doing, force quit your DJ software, reboot your computer and pray that everything will be fine after that. That is the best course of action I can give you. Let's see who I didn't. DJ Marv, hello 𝗵𝗲𝗍𝗍, please tell your friends at Pioneer to overhaul the analysis speed of Rekordbox. I have done all the tips to speed it up, 3 days to analyze my library. I know DJ Marv, and I've spoken to my friends at Pioneer at length, like I did a few streams back, and you can still watch it, it's still on YouTube. I did the big DJ speed test, comparison test, and that revealed that analysis for my test collections, which were real life test collections by the way, those analyses were significantly slower on Apple Silicon versus Intel based processors. So the Intel based was much faster than Apple Silicon, with the same Rekordbox version, with the same, everything was identical. The only thing that was different was the computer. Even the macOS version was the same, everything was the same. And they know about it. However, they say they cannot reproduce it, which I have to take the word for, because hey, who am I to counter say that? But they are aware of it, but they as of yet, they have not deemed it a problem. And I would urge you to send an email to Pioneer, and you can even mention me in that email, because they know about it, and I've told them, hey guys, I'm willing to show you here live, because even a MacBook Air with an i5 Intel processor is faster than the fastest Apple Silicon computer you can find in the market right now when it comes to analysis. So they are aware of it, but they are not kind of acknowledging it, and maybe they are unable to reproduce it. But I will have various discussions with them over this topic as well, DJ Marv. But it always helps if the push is coming from several sides. So just send them an email and tell them, hey, listen, I have very strange and very slow analysis times, and maybe they will do something with it. Ravehart, good evening. Good evening back to you. Let's see, I noticed that some of the waveforms or overview had displayed in my playlist disappeared, not displayed. All right. Yeah, that is a topic that I happen to had a DJ conversion utility user today who contacted me and told me, hey, listen, 𝗵𝗲𝗍𝗃, I'm converting with the DJ conversion utility from Traktor to Rekordbox. And if I batch analyze my tracks for phrase only, which is what I recommend, because if you do phrase only, then the converted grid will keep existing. It will not be overwritten by the analysis. But if I do that, then certain tracks are not analyzed. However, if I load those tracks in the deck, they will be analyzed. And I've seen this behavior before, and usually that means there is something wrong with the grid data in Rekordbox, the converted grid data. And you can easily check this if you select those same tracks and you analyze not only for phrase but also for BPM and grid, then they will most likely analyze. If that's the case, then analyze them that way and be done with it. You can, if you want to, run the conversion again after doing that BPM grid analysis, but odds are that that same problem will appear again. So if you have tracks that have no preview waveform, then the best course of action is to reanalyze them with BPM and grid enabled. 𝗁𝗃𝗀, I have Beatport and that's where I get my songs from. Yes. I'm trying to load the songs onto my USB and I follow the steps correctly and still no luck with getting them on USB. Where do I get that 𝗪𝗀𝗃 from? Oh, you're the guy who contacted me on YouTube. That's very easy, Josh. I gave you a link to a tutorial where I spoke about it. And under that video, in the first remark, is the download link to 𝗪𝗀𝗃. You can also, of course, use the Google machine and say 𝗪𝗀𝗃 audio conversion. I think it's on it's a Japanese website where it's at. I know that much. But the link is underneath the AMA live stream that I gave you the link for, where I show you how to use 𝗪𝗀𝗃. Yes, and Mark is going to try that. DJ Marv is, as always, happy. You're welcome, my friend. 𝗀𝗁𝗀, if you're available to video chat separately this weekend, so you can see what my MacBook is saying, why it's not working, I'll pay you to help me. Sure, Josh, that works very simple. You can always hire me for private consultancy. The price for that is €125 an hour. We do that over TeamViewer, and then I can see exactly what your problem is and maybe tell you how to fix that. But it's €125 per hour, first hour paid in advance, and if we need longer, then usually I will charge you after the consultancy. But if it's like 1 hour and 50 minutes, we call it a day. Then I'm not going to do 15 minutes. But if we are all of a sudden 3 hours on a private call, that means that I'm going to charge you the other 2 hours. But it's not like I'm doing this with a stopwatch and after 1 hour say, all right, we need a new coin in the machine to keep it going. That's not how I roll. And I need to switch my cam if I move to a different cam. But hey, I am world famous for forgetting to switch my cam, so bear with me. So Josh, if that is what you want, then please reach out to me over email or over Facebook Messenger, and I give you the details with pleasure. Raveheart, I noticed in Rekordbox 7.0.2, we are getting there in a moment, I can't use search. I can type, but the playlist doesn't update accordingly. Also, no title searching, reinstalling didn't help, but downgrading to 7.01 fixed it. That's odd, Josh. I have not heard or seen that, or Raveheart, I've not heard or seen that before, and I'm sure if that kind of bug would exist in Rekordbox 7.0.2, then I would have known about it. I'm not even sure if I did install Rekordbox 7.0.2 on this machine we are at right now. So let me have a quick look with you guys, because why not? I was going to talk about this anyway. But I don't think I am on 7. I think I'm still on 7.01, and I'm not going to update it while we are live streaming, because hey, that's like watching paint dry, not something that still 7.0.1. And then I can double check if I have it on my backup. No, never do this, by the way, never update through Rekordbox. Always go to the Rekordbox site and download it. Maybe I'll do that in a moment. Let me double check if I don't have it in my backup, because usually I have all the versions of all the software on my file server, but my file server crashed. Yeah, you heard it right. Yeah, I have 𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗀 right here. Let me install it. Hold on. Because that is something that I can do, that we can wait for. Rekordbox 702. There we go. I agree. Install the bunch. And that is installing. Okay, we get to that in a moment, Raveheart. Let's see if we can replicate that problem. But I can assure you, almost certain that that isn't there, because if that would be there, then the internet would be screaming about it. And I haven't heard much about that anyway. Oh, 𝗃𝗧𝗚𝗏, I have the same issue. It does the search, but it's extremely slow. All right. And Kevin said, good to know about your life, help. Yeah, I try to help as many people as possible, and I like to do it free of charge. So like right here, never a problem, but with very complicated things. And of course, the top DJs don't want to ask their questions in the chat. They want to directly contact me. So for those guys, it's an extra service, but because it's taking away my time, instead of helping the masses, it comes down to helping an individual. That means I have to charge for it, and that's how it is. Back to my 7.0.2. Here we are, and if I say search for summer, why not? There it is. That is working fine. Now I don't know if I have got any playlists here. I don't think there are any playlists there. So let's create a playlist. There, we've got a playlist. I really hate, I still have to get used to how this now works these days. So bear with me, folks, because I still cannot do it very quickly. But let's drop this into, let's give it an extra playlist. Create a new playlist, let's call it test. And let's put the tracks into the test playlist, like this. And then let's, no, still working as it's supposed to work. So that sounds like something is off in your Rekordbox, Braveheart, because what I see right here, and this is 7.0.2, everything is working as it should be. So sorry to say, but this is working as expected and as I want it to work. DJ Rex Harold Tavares, I'm having the same issue. Yeah, that was slow search. How do we set a daytime for a video call for you for your one-on-one help? Usually through either Facebook Messenger or email. Simple as that. So reach out through email. mmg@atgr.nl is the email address. And I should have a caption of that. Let's see if I've got a caption there. YouTube, Facebook. This is the Facebook landing page. No, I don't have one. Let's add this one real quickly. And this is the email. You can reach me. And if you just send it over there, then we can work out a day, time, etc., etc. So, back to where we were at the chat. Let me get back to it. Darukas, my friend, all the way from California. Always good to have you with us, my friend. Hello, my friend. I'm embarrassed to ask, but in Rekordbox 7, how do you bring up the column with playlists over the main column without having to drag it over the top of the main column? Yeah, it is a bit of a struggle, Darukas, so I understand completely where you're coming from. There are basically two Basically what you need to do is you need to go split screen, like you just saw me do in that very quick, hey, did my Rekordbox just bumped on me? It looks like it did. Yeah, alright. Always fun if that happens right. Let's force quit it. And this would usually be the moment that I would reboot my computer. But hey, since we are in a live stream, I'm not going to reboot my computer. There's my Rekordbox again. There goes my Rekordbox again. And nobody knows why. So let me give Rekordbox. I have no idea why it's doing this. Let's quit that. So those are both quitted. And why not, for fun and giggles, let me give it a new library. Maybe that was corrupted. I wouldn't know why, but hey. Or it might be the Rekordbox agent causing havoc. There is my Rekordbox again. There goes my Rekordbox again. There is the annoying message that something is going on. And now my Rekordbox, as you can see, there we've got our beach ball. So hey guys, you see this is all live. This is all really happening. My Rekordbox is having an issue. Now I hear you think, hey 𝗵𝗲𝗿𝗲, what might that issue be? I have no idea. But I can tell you already that I'm going to force quit this one. And let me see if my Rekordbox 6 is having the same issue. That was the Rekordbox agent. Because then I am also in the camp of, hey, my Rekordbox 7.0.2 is giving me huge problems. This is my Rekordbox 6, which is totally fine with everything. So this is fun, folks. This is fun because my Rekordbox 6 is working just fine. And I've just told everybody, well, I think Rekordbox 7.0.2 is fine because I've been using it mainly on my laptop, I must admit. And now I'm trying to quit Rekordbox and it's taking close to forever. This is Rekordbox 6 that I'm trying to quit. Now it's quitted. Now let's bring up my Rekordbox 7. And otherwise I'm going to put Rekordbox 7.0.2. There we go again. No, it's definitely a problem with Rekordbox 7.0.2. Now let me go back to Rekordbox 7.0.1 because like I said, I always have backups of everything. So let's quit Rekordbox here and let's put the normal screen up while I'm going to get the installer for Rekordbox 7.0. Rekordbox installers. Oh, I don't have Rekordbox 7.0. I don't even have Rekordbox. Man, stop bragging, you don't have 7 here, you only have the beta here. Alright. But no fear. I have an internal backup where I can pull it from, and that's exactly what I'm going to do right now. Again, you cannot see this, but it is what I'm doing. Rekordbox 7. There's Rekordbox 7. Replace. This is fun. And then let's see. There it is. And then let's fire it up again. Let's see what it does. Why not? I'm just rooting for 𝗵𝗃𝗀 that everything is fine with their product, and all of a sudden I'm experiencing the same problems. Close. There you go. Alright folks, that sounded like it was a serious Rekordbox 7.0.2. Do you have a link for Rekordbox 7.0.1? No, I don't. But I know there is a link page with all the previous Rekordboxes on the Pioneer DJ forum. I'm not sure if it's for Rekordbox 7, but for Rekordbox 6 it is. And this is Rekordbox 7.0.1, which is not causing me any troubles at all. So yeah, it looks like something is off there, that something is not entirely as it should be. So I can imagine that there are problems with it. At least, like I said, I've been using 7.0.2 for a long time already on my laptop. I haven't been on this computer very much for the past week. And we get for the whys and hows about that in a moment, because that is one of the reasons why I did pull the live stream forward and went ahead to have a live stream today, because there is some stuff that we need to talk about. But before we can do that, we need to talk about the news. And there is quite some news in the world of DJing, which is not news at all anymore. Such as, for instance, 𝗵𝗶𝗃𝗲 did release Rekordbox 7.0.2 since my last live stream. And that should have some fixes, as you can see, but we already saw that it might not be totally foolproof. The most important improvement, well, actually not, is that the potential crashes should be fixed, but as you can see, there are some problems with it. 𝗪𝗪𝗀𝗀, are you still going to be streaming during the summer? Yes, I'm not having any summer plans, so yes, I will be here every Tuesday. Unless there is some social thing that's interfering with it, or unless it's extremely good weather and I decide to go sailing. But I will let people know in advance for that. So that is for the Rekordbox thing. The other thing that broke was this thing, which has been well reviewed by a lot of the usual suspects already. For instance, Mojaxx has an excellent video about the Rane Performer, but my good friend 𝗫𝗀𝗀 also did a comparison of the Rane Performance versus the REV-7. And if you are in the market for spinning platters, for rotating jogs, which is the unique feature of the REV-7, then I recommend you to watch 𝗫𝗀𝗀's video about it, because he makes a lot of sense about the things he talks about. One thing that I noticed in his video was that the microphone of the REV-7 sounded way better than that on the Rane, or on the Rane Performer, but that was one of the smaller things that I took away from it. But he has a lot of comparison points there, and I recommend you to check out 𝗫𝗀𝗀's video for that. And Mojaxx is always my guy when it comes to reviewing gear. I don't have a Rane Performer at my disposal, very simply because I'm not best friends with InMusic, and even if they told me, hey, you can test it if you like to, then I will still review it, because I am not a reviewer of gear. I'm just mentioning this because it's news, but there are so many good reviews already out there. Of course, my friend 𝗁𝗲 does it. So many people do it these days that there is no need for just an extra Dutch guy doing that. So that's why I'm not doing any reviews at all. So that news broke. On the heels of that, Serato came out with an update as well, because the Rane Performer 4 is a Serato device, and you can see it here. The Rane Performer has the new features, is one of the new features of Serato Pro 3.1.5. Apart from that, it doesn't seem to have very much new features there. So indeed, and like 𝗪𝗪𝗀𝗀 is saying, both 𝗫𝗀𝗀 and Mojaxx dove in very detailed. Yeah, indeed they did, and I liked what 𝗫𝗀𝗀 did with the REV-7 versus Rane 4 comparison, because he talks a lot of truth there, and it makes a lot of sense to do it that way. Now back to the reason why I decided to do this live stream today. Last Sunday, so not past Sunday, but the week before, all of a sudden I had problems with my file server, and as some of you might know, I use my audio files. They are all stored on an AppleShare file server, and that AppleShare file server is named 𝗃𝗃𝗃, and you can, hold on, you can see it for instance here in the corner. That's an Apple Share file server, and that is named 𝗃𝗃𝗃. And all of a sudden I was experiencing problems with that file server. And the same as Mark had with his Rekordbox, he saw his spinning beachball. I knew something was off. So the first thing you do is restart the file server. Then my terabyte drive didn't came up. I took the drive out, which was still a mechanical hard drive, and 5 terabyte mechanical hard drive. Tried in a different enclosure, but it had mechanical issues, and you can easily hear with the old mechanical drives that they have issues. You can feel it spin up, you can hear it spin up, and if there is a mechanical issue, it will spin down again. It will not continue, because normally you hear it spin up. It's like a jet spinning up, or your wash dryer spinning. You hear it spin up, and once it has a certain velocity, it will it releases the heads, the actual heads that can read and write the data, and you hear that by a little click. So it is usually it's something like zzz, click, zzz, and this was zzz, click, 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 zzz. So I knew something was off mechanically, and sometimes if you give it a few bumps, you can get it going again, but this was beyond repair. Now, lucky enough, I had a shitload of backups, so there was only like half a day of data loss, so that wasn't the big problem here. But the big problem was iTunes. Again, as some of you might know, iTunes / today it's called Music app is what I use as my primary collection manager, which means the playlists I use are made in iTunes and then synced with iOS for Algorithm DJ, or synced with Rekordbox, or wherever I need them. But they originate on iTunes. And I found out some things about iTunes that I was not aware of, and that I like to share with you guys, because if you face these issues, then you need to know, first of all, that those issues exist, because like I said, I wasn't aware of these issues that I'm going to dive into. And second of all, how you can fix them, which is a time-consuming process, but you can fix them. Before we do that, I'm going to show you some things about iTunes that you may not be aware of, but that are at the heart of what I was experiencing. So I am not going to do this, because right now I'm going to do a little sample collection, just show you something. And I can do that easily using a USB. So we have a USB here, it's called test. Let's give it a file folder, and let's give it some test tracks. Not too much, we do this very simple and very slowly. Let's do this first, and then I'm going to explain in detail what is happening and why it's happening. This USB is formatted FAT32. Very important to remember that FAT32 is not an Apple native format. There are two Apple native formats, that's APFS and macOS Extended, also known as HFS. So those two are Mac native formats. This is not Mac native. Important, keep that in mind. Let's go to my iTunes, and it's an empty collection right now. We are going to dive into something else in a moment, and I got some playlists here. Let's take these tracks away, and let's open my Untitled folder, and let's put some tracks in. And these tracks, of course, play the moment I double click them. They play, and I can go. Everything is fine with it. This works. Now, as you might know, that iTunes, like all the other DJ software, uses the file path to the audio file to recognize a file. And for fun and giggles, let me show you what a file path is in this instance. So let's do it like this. If you take this is just text edit, and you make it a flat text file, and you can then just drag any file, not only audio files, but any file inside of it, and you see what its file path is. I know this is boring stuff, but you need to understand this. So this tells me that we are talking about volumes test, a drive named test, Untitled folder, that is the last part, and then the actual audio file. So that is the file path to my audio file think of a file path as a URL, but then for computers, to keep it very simple. Now, the moment I change, for instance, untitled folder to the name untitled folder number 1, the file path changes to the audio file. Let me double check which audio file I use there. 2021-27 shows, this one. Because now it says untitled folder 1, etc, etc. So by changing just a part of the file path, in this case the name of the folder that the audio file is in, I change the entire file path. Same as with the URL, if you mistype one letter, you cannot find the web page. That is exactly what happened here. Now let me show you what happens in music. If I try to play that track again, it tells me it doesn't exist anymore. Of course, that is a problem. Now let me clear out my music collection, so there is nothing there anymore. Why is not clearing it out? Keep the files is fine. All right. So we have cleared the file, and this time around I'm going to format that drive as a macOS native formatted drive. So I go to erase and we make it macOS extended, and I call it test again. And you will see in a moment why I do that, because now something magical will happen. And that magic is where things also can go wrong, but more about it in a moment. Alright, and there we have our drive again, which is empty of course. Let's make the untitled folder and let's put some random audio files in it. Let's take some other audio files. And then not too much, just a bunch, because this is strictly for showing you what can go wrong with iTunes, and you need to know how this works in order to see how it can go wrong. And then let's find my audio files. By the way, I am not letting iTunes interfere in the storage of my audio files. So here you can see both of these are off, which is what I recommend to everybody if you don't want to run into troubles with your iTunes managed collection. So here we've got the audio files, and if I want to play this track, you can see it loads and I can play it. That is all fine. Now back to my USB drive, and let's do the same thing that I did before. Let's put a 1 behind it. And let's pick another track. And lo and behold, that track still plays, even if I changed the file path. Even if I changed it entirely. Even if I changed the drive name to something totally different. So now I really messed up the file path. iTunes doesn't care. iTunes doesn't matter. Those tracks still play. You can still load them. Why is that, and how is that possible? You might think, well, iTunes is not only using the file path to identify a track, it is also using something that is called the inode number. Each audio file, or each file in general, each file on a Mac OS, an Apple native formatted drive, has a unique number associated to it. You cannot see this number, only the deep low-level system can see that number, but that number is also used by iTunes to identify a track, which means even if you totally mess up the file path, iTunes can still find that track by its number. Now there are some things that you need to be aware of. First of all, this only works for tracks that are moved on the same drive. So if, for instance, I take this folder away and then I remove this folder from, hold on, you always need to empty the trash, by the way, if you can do this, because otherwise iTunes will even find audio files in the trash. Can you believe that? And let's change this to something else. So I move them from the USB to my desktop, to my internal drive, and I moved them back and changed the name of the folder. So I changed the file path. And I bet you that right now iTunes cannot find those files anymore because I did move them beyond the regular drive. So you see, now it is complaining that it cannot find them. So in short, if you move files around on the same drive and you rename folders and you renamed audio files, everything will be fine as far as iTunes is concerned. The moment you move an audio file from a different drive back to that drive, then iTunes will be unable to locate them. DJ Rodney, yes, you can always ask a question, my friend, but I will answer it after this piece. So yeah, put it in the chat and I will get to that. The same, by the way, for 𝗪𝗪𝗀𝗀, I will get to your question in a moment after I finish this, and that this can take a while. So iTunes recognizes a track first by its file path, and secondly by its inode number. Underwater, something you cannot control. And that inode number changes if you move an audio file from a different drive, or if you duplicate an audio file, then the inode number changes, then iTunes can no longer find that audio file again. Why is this important? Remember, I had a server crash, my old terabyte drive died, and I restored it from a backup. Restoring from a backup means you move it from one drive to another, meaning different inode number, right? So iTunes, maybe on my old drive I messed up some audio files and I didn't notice it. And that would never give me a problem in iTunes, because iTunes would always find the inode number on the old original drive. But me, having moved the audio files from a backup to the new server file, this is a new SSD drive now that I am using inside the server, making that move fucked up the inode numbering, so that doesn't work anymore. But then the real problem started to begin, because what iTunes does when it cannot find an audio file is it will go for the quickest inode number that matches. And imagine that if, like my file server, I think there are over 1 million files on it. For instance, my entire Rekordbox database backup, including all artwork, analysis files, etc. is there. That is like 150,000 files easily, and that's just that. And then I'm not talking about over 100,000 files of audio files and everything else. So I think I'm close to 1 million files there. Odds are that their inode number of some of those files match. So imagine this. I have my iTunes collection. I have restored my audio files, and all of a sudden there are tracks inside my iTunes that don't work anymore. And this I'm going to show you guys, because this you have to see to believe, and you have to stay with me. By the way, there is a trick to use multiple iTunes/music collections. That is, if you hold down the Alt or Option key on your keyboard while opening the app, it will ask you what to use. And we are now going to use my real life iTunes collection that has the problem. So I can say choose library, and there I have music current. I'm going to see if I can go to save mode too. So choose. No, I cannot go to save. So this will take a while to load, folks. You can see that the terabyte is loaded there, and that this is loading. You cannot tell that it's loading, but it will take its time to load. And while it's loading, I'm going to look at the question of 𝗪𝗪𝗀𝗀, because hey, we are waiting here anyway, and then I get back to iTunes and I'm going to show you some really fucked up shit. DJ 𝗪𝗪𝗀𝗀𝗀, beat grading on DJ Pro is currently second to none. Will it ever be possible to transfer DJ Pro beat grids to use on Rekordbox, Serato, etc.? No, it won't be. And the reason for that is that those beat grids don't exist. What Algorithm DJ Pro 5 does, and which is remarkable, is it uses AI to real-time look ahead in the track what's happening and then making kind of a beat grid on the fly. So there is no stored beat grid there. It is on-the-fly analysis that is happening in real time. And for that reason you cannot convert it. And even if you could convert it, it would be such a dynamic grid that no other DJ software would be able to use that. No Rekordbox virtual DJs will be able to use it. So yes, you have to wait for those DJ softwares to catch up, and I think they will, because algorithm is usually at the forefront when it comes to implementing new technology. They were the first with stems. Virtual DJ was a week later, and I can only imagine that this technology will also be available to others. But it's remarkable what it does. It's really amazing, and I really hope that a lot of DJ software will also take that. But no, you cannot convert it. Let's see. Do any DJ software use inode numbers, or is it just iTunes? It's not inode. It's inode, I-N-O-D-E. And iTunes uses it, and Rekordbox uses it. Rekordbox uses it in its relocation. If you do an auto-relocate, it compares inode numbers. Inode numbers are not available, you cannot see them. You can ask them, you can find the inode number, so I can find the inode number of a file. And there is an excellent explanation of missing file auto-relocation, where I explained how Rekordbox uses it. But it comes down to, you feed Rekordbox a bunch of files by defining where the audio files are stored, and then Rekordbox will compare each and every file to see if it has the same inode number. That way Rekordbox is totally, doesn't matter where those audio files are stored, or it doesn't matter if they are renamed, again, as long as they stay on the same drive. But then it can find the correct file even if you renamed it and fucked it up, etc, etc. So Rekordbox is using inode numbers as well. And again, it's inode as node in a node and not a notepad. My Rekordbox has finally started up, and I'm first going to show you something that I know is alive in my top 40 collection, which is 25,886 tracks, big, to give you an idea. And that is this track right there. If I double click it to play, or I press enter to play, watch what happens. It plays the next track. So I can, for the life of it, I cannot double click Let's Dance. It will play the next track. I can play the track above it, I can play the track underneath it. If I double click this one, this is double click, then it plays the one. So why is that happening? Let me show you why that's happening. Because if we right click it and we say cat info, and we go to the file tab, then you see this is linked to some kind of text file of all things. So this text file most likely has the same inode number as the original audio file for this Let's Dance track by 5head. And for that reason, you cannot play it, you cannot play a text file. And of course that is a problem, because with, right now it are 14, but let me switch the filter off again. Then we are back to, with 26,000 tracks, how can I find out which tracks don't have an audio file attached to it, let alone for my entire collection, which is 180,000 tracks. How can I find a track that has no audio file connected to it? So what I did is I wrote a script for that, and that script will basically do two things. It will find tracks that don't have an audio file located or attached to it, meaning the audio file is missing, the ones with the exclamation mark, and it will find tracks that have sorry for that, and it will find the tracks that have something else but an audio file attached to it, like that 5 track that I just showed you. That script I'll be making available through the iTunes collection tool. The iTunes collection tool is my tool that helps you find duplicates using audio fingerprinting in an iTunes collection, or in my case in a music collection. And this script is pretty simple. You use QuickSilver to launch it. So QuickSilver is active right now. It's under the F10 key. Let's go back to my top 40 list. Now this can take a while for it to find it, so I will help it a little bit by moving a little bit to the track. Let's Dance was the track by 5. So this is the problem track. So if I'm going to play this track, or no, not this. If I'm going to play this track, then it will skip all the tracks before it and it will go searching after this track, because when the search kicks in, it will get slower. I initiated by using the F10, and in a moment I will also tell you how to install this kind of stuff, so bear with me. And now it should give me a warning, but I don't see it giving me an... That's weird. Are my notifications off? I hope not. Let me see in the notification center if the notifications are off, because I want the notification for QuickSilver to appear. QuickSilver, yeah, notifications are on. So it should show them, but I don't see it showing them. Usually there should be a notification flashing in the top corner, because like I said, this can take a while for it to find it. So let's keep our fingers crossed. And while I'm waiting for that, I will look inside the chat to see if there are other questions. Mark Keller, hi 𝗵𝗃𝗿𝗀, I have 3 questions. When I convert from Engine to Rekordbox, in some cases the beat grid is not as in Engine DJ. Some grids are converted correctly, some are not. How can I avoid this? You can't. The engine beat grids are a mess, are literally a mess. And what the Denon extractor tool, the conversion from Rekordbox or from Engine to Rekordbox does, is it will take a static grid and after that it will forget about it, because beat grids, how they are stored in Engine DJ, are so overly complex and irrational that I stopped doing it, and I would recommend that you use the Rekordbox analysis grid, because 9 out of 10 times they are better than the Engine DJ grid. And I know that, yeah, if you manually did fix those grids in Engine DJ, then maybe they are perfect for you, but conversion will always be a problem. So I gave up on that. Second, how can I have the Q colors from Engine in Rekordbox? They should be. However, if it depends on how those Qs were set. If the Qs are set on an 𝗪𝗚5000, 𝗪𝗚6000, a Prime 4, then the Q color should convert just fine to Rekordbox. But if you used some conversion from, let's say, virtual DJ with DJ conversion to Rekordbox, and then from Rekordbox to Engine, then you won't keep your Q colors, because in the process the actual Q colors get mesmerized. By the way, this is what I was waiting for. You can see that there pops up right here a new thing, and that tells me that I can find the track or the audio file for the 5 track, and then it can reassign it to this particular track that is having a problem. And the thing is, and that's another side problem right now, that I cannot search my terabyte because it's indexing on Spotlight. So right now search is not working. But what it also does is it will copy and paste the artist and title, so you can use the search bar and then paste it. You see here 5 Let's Dance, go to terabyte, and there, if it has been indexed, it will find it for you. So, it is getting a little bit there already, but not everything is there. Like I said, it's in process of re-indexing, but right now it's not indexed entirely, so it will not be there. But what this tool does is it will open a dialog screen for tracks that don't have an audio file or have an audio file attached that is not an audio file, like a text file, PDF file, or whatever. And then you can reassign the correct audio file. So it's kind of an auto or a manual relocation on steroids. You still have to point it to the correct audio file in order to link it to a track that is not working in iTunes. But after that, that track will work. I've been using it whole weekend. It works just fine. Now, this will be released inside the iTunes Collection Tool 2.3.1, and I will most likely release that tomorrow. I think what you need to understand or need to know is how to install it. Because if you have already QuickSilver installed on your computer, then most likely, if you go to Preferences, oh, hold on, I need QuickSilver here. Oh, why is my QuickSilver not shown? That's weird. Let me restart QuickSilver here because it will not show me its preferences, and that's weird. QuickSilver again. QuickSilver is running. There we are, QuickSilver. If you go to its preferences, then you will see that it already has triggers installed, and this particular trigger was under F10. If you have manually installed or manually created triggers in QuickSilver, which I recommend highly, then you need to attach or to make it a manual thing to give it an extra key combination. You can do that by keyboard, but first of all you need to know what you need to assign. So this is the complicated thing if you have your own shortcuts. If you don't have your shortcuts, I will show you in a moment the easy way. But if you go to the iTunes Collection Tool and you right click it and you say Show Package Contents, and then you go inside Contents, inside Resources, and then all the way down the free scripts. Then you have a Find Next Missing Track script. Now if you go right here and you say on the plus, I want to make a new shortcut, and you drag that over here, and then you can save this, assign a keystroke to it. Right now it is none, but if you double click it, you can do a Command E, for instance, like you see Command E right there, and then you have assigned a keystroke to it in order to invoke it. So that is the complex way. The easy way is the following one. If you have the iTunes Collection Tool DMG, and if you update, you will have that. And you open that DMG, then there is a miscellaneous folder on that DMG, and in that miscellaneous folder is a Reset QuickSilver Prefs. If you double click it, this is all. You will now see that QuickSilver doesn't have any preferences anymore. So let me double check that with you. Right here, and I go to triggers, and you can see it's all empty now. Now I need to run that little thingy from miscellaneous again. For that you need to make sure that QuickSilver is not running. Let's quit that, and let's do this. That resets the QuickSilver triggers. Now if you just run the new iTunes tool, again I need to release it yet. It's in 2.3.1. It will install the new shortcuts, so the trigger for the find missing tracks with missing. That, by the way, works on a playlist/playlist folder level. Oh shit, this is going to take a while. Let's wait for this to happen because it's now closing. This is going to take a long time. So let's take that one off. That wasn't need to be there. And let's go back to some of the questions. After that I will show you some other stuff that you need to be aware of. But basically this very strange behavior where iTunes all of a sudden links a non-audio file to a track is very odd. This, by the way, is also the reason why sometimes in iTunes audio files get linked to entirely different audio, to entirely different tracks. Same procedure, only it's very clearly visible when it is a non-audio file, because then you know for sure, all right, something is really messed up there. Let's go with Mark, his questions. Third, text is not converting any playlist at all. All your other tools are working fine. Yeah, Dex should convert playlists. That is one of the things that it does. As soon as I pick a playlist and start converting, it says always at 0 of tracks, what do I do wrong? You most likely are working from the wrong drive. Dex is driven by the drive that the tracks are stored on. And if you have a playlist that have tracks that are on a different drive, then it will not convert them. So that is how it works. I cannot make it differently, but I will, in a moment, after this iTunes thing, we will dive into Dex. Should you, sir? Thank you. Really appreciate your taking the time answering my question. Yeah, sure. That is what these Ask Me Anything live streams are for. They are usually totally unscripted, unless I have, like today, a topic that I want to discuss. But I also know that that topic will take some time because my big iTunes collection is now live. Yes, then there are some interruptions there, and I have all the time. But I will always try to answer any questions that are answerable online with this time. 𝗫𝗀𝗃𝗲. Greetings. In brief, what is the workflow to go from DJ iOS to Serato and DJ iOS to Virtual DJ? In brief, what is the workflow to go from DJ iOS to Serato and DJ iOS to Virtual DJ? Okay. The first thing that you will face when you want to do that, 𝗫𝗀, is you need the audio files. And if you don't have the audio files on your computer, then basically there is no going from DJ to Serato or Virtual DJ. Only exception is if you use streaming services like Beatport, BeatSource, Tidal, that kind of stuff, then you can do it because those streaming services can be converted. Then you need to have the database, and you do that with, for instance, I like to use something that's called iFunbox. The tutorials are in my YouTube channel. There is a special playlist for DJ Pro 5, and in that playlist there is a tutorial going from DJ iOS to Rekordbox. Once you are in Rekordbox, and that can be the free demonstration version of Rekordbox, so you don't need to pay anything, you can go from Rekordbox to Virtual DJ or Serato. But the most important first step is to make sure that DJ macOS, which is free for you if you have a license for DJ iOS, you can use both on iOS and macOS, works with your tracks. If that's not the case, then you are basically fucked because you cannot access those audio files. If you're using streaming services, then you need the DJ conversion utility streaming, you can do it. If you use audio files, you need the regular DJ conversion utility. 𝗫𝗀𝗃𝗲 question. So if DJ beat creating is AI based, then why should I consider preparing tracks in DJ in the conversion to Serato Virtual DJ? Maybe misaligned. Yeah, that's totally true. That is completely true. By the way, the DJ conversion utility never converted DJ grids. So not only not now, but never did. But you do that for the cues, for the loops, and for your playlists, and for your star ratings, and all that other stuff. But you don't do that for the grid. Mark Keller, and that's again on the Denon extractor tool stuff. Thanks. So do you recommend to use Rekordbox to grid and set cue points and then convert your engine? Is the beat grid then also converted? Again, Mark, yes, that is what I convert because most DJs will face CDJs in the club. So unless you are a mobile DJ and you are traveling with your Prime 4 under your arm, then you are perfectly fine in the Engine OS ecosystem. But if you are a working DJ and you have aspirations to go on a festival stage, on a DJ stage, or in playing in clubs, stuff like that, then you need to have your stuff in Rekordbox. And for that, I would never ever recommend using Engine OS as a base DJ software, simply because it's not the standard and it will not get there. When it comes to your beat grids, conversion from Rekordbox to Engine DJ and Engine OS using the Denon conversion utility converts a static grid. So if you have a dynamic grid is where there are various BPM changes within the track, and those changes can be very gradual, but they can also be huge. That's a dynamic grid. Rekordbox can analyze for dynamic grids, so can Serato, so can most other DJ software. But if you want to convert that to Denon, then the Denon conversion utility will make it a static grid. And what will it do? It will measure which part of the track will have a steady BPM the longest, and that part will have the BPM that the entire track gets. So it is possible that there is a beat marker set halfway the track, and then the first minute is a given BPM, and that will be the BPM. So it's not perfect, but again, Denon made such a mess about how the beat grid is stored, and that's also the reason why they are unable to repair it very easily, because it's a mess. It's really a mess. And if they want to fix that, then they have to adopt a very different notation system. And then Durrell Trio asks, is it possible to view BPM in iTunes? Yes, you can do that. iTunes has a BPM column. And I've spoken about that last week or the week before, because last week there was nothing. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to first quit the iTunes collection tool, force quit, and the user interface and the music app, because that is all still, because this is, like I said, a very big collection, and then it can take a long time for iTunes to finish. Like I said, there are some other things that I want to talk about the iTunes, and then I'm going to deep dive into the Denon extractor tool and other kind of stuff. So first let's do this. Let's have some hydration. And then let's switch to an empty or an almost empty iTunes collection again. And then I want my empty one, which is my almost empty one. I do this on a different screen, so you cannot see it, sorry. That's weird. There it is. Right, that is the same old testing playlist. And as you can see, all those tracks are missing. Now if I press F10, if you have just one track running, let's cancel this, and you press F10, it will, that little tool that I spoke with you about a moment ago, and let me get QuickSilver again up and running. That is up and running. Strange that it doesn't show the notifications. Let me find this track and then I can take it from there. Hold on, folks. There it is, and this is eyes closed. The first track. There we are. Cancel. If you get this message, I just clicked it away, but I wanted to show you this message. If you get this message and you press locate, iTunes will try to locate your tracks that it is missing. Again, that will be the inode location that it will be using at that point in time. A side effect of pressing locate right here will be that iTunes will be very busy without you notifying. There will be no progress bar. There is no indication that iTunes is doing anything at all, but in the back it is trying to locate all the tracks. Now in that very big collection that you saw of me a moment ago, like 120,000 tracks, and about 600 were originally missing, and I brought that right now back to 300. If I press locate in this box right here, it will start to relocate, but it's not a smart relocation, because the next time I I manually relocate an audio file, it will ask me again if I want to locate everything else, and that will stack up on each other. The result is that quitting Rekordbox, once you have given the locate, can take forever. And with forever, I'm not talking about 3 hours, I'm talking about 3 days. Force quitting Rekordbox will basically invalidate everything that you did before. So if you did manually locate tracks before that, that will be lost if you force quit it. So the best thing you can do is sit and pray and hope that everything will be fine. But it can take a long, long time to finish. Long story short, if you see this box, say cancel, don't do it. Say cancel, don't do it. And then just manually say locate and locate the track like here. Again, cancel if you see that box. If I press F10, it will automatically find, or it will automatically find the next track that is missing. There we are. And then I can say locate. Again, use this with caution. Locate here, this is fine. So we locate manually this one and this one. Would you like to use the location to find other tracks? Say cancel, because trust me, with big collections, not with this small collection, that will be fine, but with my huge collection, I have waited seriously 3 days for music to quit, and I could continue after that to open it. Another thing that a lot of people don't know about is that music has what is known as a safe mode. If you hold down the command and the option key together and then start iTunes or music, and by the way, a lot of Apple apps have this mode, then you can see, then you get the warning that you are running in safe mode, and you can say continue. First of all, safe mode will double check that everything is fine, that everything is working. And second of all, if you have installed extras, like for instance my scripts, like right here, that will not be available in safe mode. So safe mode can be your last resort. Usually safe mode is a lot quicker in opening and quitting as well, unless of course you have said, alright, try to locate everything that's missing in my audio file collection, because again, then you can wait 3 days for it to finish. Then Durrell asked me if it is possible to show BPMs in iTunes. And let's go again to my iTunes. And then to the song view. And if you right click in this little thing, you can say, I want to see the beats per minute. And there you got the beats per minute. These beats per minute are coming from the audio file tags. There is no analysis in iTunes for BPM at all. If there are no BPMs stored in the tags, you will not see them. By the way, another thing that I forgot to mention, and that is annoying as hell, is if you make a new playlist, you have by default this format, which means if I put some tracks in it, it looks like this, which is totally unusable for DJs. So what you need to do is each and every time you have to say view songs. That's a replicated problem that you need to do every time. And the problem is this is not stored in the database. This is stored in a special preference file. But you can transfer this to multiple computers, because when you move your iTunes collection to a different computer and you use, like I do, a different volume to store your audio files, which means on a different computer everything will just work fine as well. For instance, I've been fixing my iTunes collection outside on my laptop with a backup drive attached to it, but I was annoyed by having all the wrong views on my laptop while they are good on my computer, and I found out how you can fix that. If you go inside the user library, and that is the hidden library, that is, if you press the Alt key on your keyboard, you can go to library. If you don't press the Alt key, you don't see it. That library is the library you want to go deep inside. Then if you go to the preferences, right here, and you just do a search for apple.music in the preferences, then you find this little thingy, the com Apple Music List, and that is the file that stores your views. That is the file that stores that you are in the song view, which columns are available, in what order they are available. So if you are moving your music library to a different computer, also make sure that you move this audio file. You can just copy it across. You can copy it across and that will work. So in short, you can just copy it like this. Then if you go to your music folder, then in the music current, this is my music library. Let's put it inside there too. And if I move this to my laptop and I put the 𝗵𝗶𝗃 in the preferences of the user library, then you will be fine. Then you can use it as well. So that is a little tip for everybody who is like me, annoyed by the default view of music, which is not usable for DJs. Let's see, what's the best way to import music onto iOS and macOS if you want DJ software to detect the metadata for year of tracks? iTunes. Like I said, the DJ conversion utility, if you convert from DJ, from algorithm DJ to Rekordbox XML, which is the basic conversion step, then it will try to locate your audio files using iTunes. It will ask iTunes if a certain audio file is available. So that means you need to have all your audio files inside iTunes. And if you do that, make sure that you don't let iTunes interfere with the storage location of your audio files. My apps will warn you about it, but again, I already showed this at the beginning of this live stream, but I'm going to show that again. If you are in iTunes, under preferences, make sure that files, that these two are not turned on. The moment you turn these on, you are fucked. Don't do that. And if you do that, there will not be any duplicate audio files on your computer and on your system, etc., etc. But the DJ conversion utility can then ask iTunes if an audio file is not in an expected location. Do you have an audio file with this artist, this title, and this length? So artist, title, length are the deciding factors there, and they need to be exactly the same in Algorithm DJ as they are in iTunes. But again, if you just import them from a DJ or from a library, then they will be identical. But that is how it works. I think I remember watching a tutorial that said if you import through iTunes or Apple Music, it doesn't pick up the year of the music. Is this correct? I think it should be, because year is just a common tag, and yes, it should be. What it doesn't do is it will not take the date edit. Like many DJ software and many other things, iTunes will not allow you to edit the date edit, but that is the date edit to your collection, which is something different than the year. So let me double check that with you. So let me switch year on. And you've got year and you can see it's empty. And maybe there might even be an error there that it doesn't work with that. So I don't know, I don't use year that much, but you can edit it like this. But also available is date edit. And date edit is the date that the track was added to the iTunes collection. In our case, I just added them, so that's July 1st, which is today. You also have the date modified, that's also a very interesting one, which is the date and time that things were changed inside your iTunes collection. So those metrics are also useful if you like them, but I'm not sure if the year is being done. We can double check that. So let me turn this off. And let me remove @Sheeran from the library and then add it again. Let's see, creation, no. Delete from library. Are you doing that now? It wants to be clicked, all right, there you go. And then I did use the files from here. No, it still takes a year, so it takes it from the tags. So it is in the tags. Same for BPM, by the way, it's in the tags, and you can use one of the tool or one of the scripts of the iTunes collection tool if you want to refresh the tags, because there is no refreshment of tags in iTunes. I spoke about that last stream. Then I promised to have a quick look at then an extractor tool and Engine DJ, so let's do that. let's go to Engine DJ. Like this. Yeah, I know. And then let's make a new playlist. Create a playlist. And we call that playlist test. And let's take that playlist away. Remove. Like that. 𝗃𝗧𝗚𝗏, the 𝗃𝗧𝗚𝗏 playlist. And let's put some tracks in it. Those tracks, as you can see, are also stored on my audio or on my internal drive. I always recommend you to have the drive list in front of your Engine DJ collection, because that will tell you where audio files are stored. Because if I have test and I add also tracks from this drive, like this, it's still one playlist, as you can see. But that single playlist contains tracks stored on my internal drive and on my external SSD drive. And this is most likely the problem that Mark is facing, because if you select a playlist in the then extractor tool, it can only convert the tracks that are stored on that drive. So I'm not going to give it cues and loops. I'm good with this. All right, let's go to the then extractor tool. Let's do this together. So the first question it asks me is, which drive do you want to work from? So if I do it from the startup/internal drive, then only the tracks stored on the startup or internal drive are converted. The others are not, but you can kind of do it together. But let's do that. I always leave convert BPM and grade off, convert date edit. Well, that's up to you if you want that to be converted. And for the rest, believe it or not, I'm good with this. So let's go. And there you can see there are some history lists, and there is a playlist named test, because that's the playlist I just created. And now 𝗶𝗃 should kick in. There we go. By the way, folks, after this, I will close the stream for today. So if you have a question for me, put it in the chat right now, so I know that there, even if it's a lot of typing, just say 𝗵𝗲𝗄, I want to ask something, then I'll wait for you. But otherwise, we will close after this thingy. So let's say no there, let's say no there. Close. And if we go to the playlists, there you've got the prime collection, and there you've got playlists, and there you've got 𝗃𝗧𝗏. So I made a tapping error. But you can see it only contains 3 tracks, because if I open Engine DJ, which I wish I had a shortcut of, which we are now going to give it, so I can find it. There we are. Oh, it should have been there already. There you can see only 3 tracks on the SSD, and we selected SSD for conversion. So if I'm going to convert from the other drive, we can do that too. Let's start up the then extractor tool again, like this. And if we say that we are going to use the external drive, it has a very old name right now. By the way, you see collection, and there is an iTunes and a Rekordbox collection there. Those 2 boxes help in some instances the then extractor tool to find original audio files if you are converting from external drive. They will not be available if you use the startup drive. You can see then they are off. But if you go from an external drive and then the then the then extractor tool tries to find the original audio files, because usually those drives were created using an export, for instance with the then a conversion utility, and then you don't want to have the file path pointing to the other file, to the file on the USB, but you can find it back. And you can see right here, you can keep file path as selected in prime collection, or you can say, and then you can see that this is off, or you can take this off and then it will use the Rekordbox XML and the iTunes XML to find them, but you need to feed the correct ones there. For now I will keep the file path as they are in the prime collection. I'm not going to try to find the original audio files, because otherwise they will import them and stuff like that. So I take that off and we just do it like this. And now you will see, Mark, that my 𝗃𝗃𝗀𝗃 playlist has only the tracks from the external drive, because you cannot combine it. It's a limitation of Engine OS if you are doing a conversion. It is just depends on whatever you are using. So here we are in Rekordbox again. Go away, go to the playlists, and now you can see that it is named the prime collection on the drive. So this was the old one, this is the new one, and you can see that the playlist is also there. And if you want to, you can combine them again, but these tracks are on my external drive. So if we turn the location on, always have to find where that stuff, because I still cannot make any head or toe or location is on, so it should show me the location. Where's location? There's location. There you can see that it's volumes. So then it's split up, but there's nothing that holds you back to keep that and put that together again. So now we've got them all together like this, but again, it makes sense to keep it separated, to keep it easy for you, but that is how it works. And as you can see, everything is perceived, including your playlist, because that's the whole idea behind it. Okay, my friends. That also brings me to the end of this live stream. I hope to roll out the iTunes collection tool update for those of you interested in particularly that little script that finds the next track that doesn't have an audio file or a wrong file connected to it, because that will save a lot of people a lot of troubles, because you cannot change the connected file once it is connected, like you saw in that little demonstration with that 5 track that I did. Then you cannot manually reassign a new track to it. It's impossible. You can only do it through that script. There is no other way you can do it. So that will be a lifesaver to a lot of DJs, I'm sure. And there was something else that just crossed my mind, but I already forgot that I wanted to talk about. Anyway, if you like what I'm doing, then don't forget to give this video the thumbs up, like, share, subscribe, but most importantly, tell your DJ friends about the availability of this information totally for free each Tuesday, normally 7 o'clock p.m. Central European Time. And yes, I will be here all summer. If next week the Netherlands has to play, if they make it to the quarterfinals or whatever it is, and if that's on a Tuesday, I don't know, then there will not be a stream, but of course I will try to warn everybody in advance on Facebook, Instagram and YouTube if there is a change in schedule there. For the rest of the summer I will be here and speak DJ stuff, unless there is really nothing to talk about, because I'm not going to waste anyone's time with just sitting and talking other things than DJ tech. Or if the weather is so nice that I'm going out and have a sail. But then again, I will warn in advance. For now, thank you all for hanging out with me. I appreciate each and every one of you. Hope to see you guys all next stream. Thank you for being with me. 𝗵𝗲𝗿𝗀.